Guys, I got hurt at work. It doesn't look like much, but there's literally a small hole right here and it's just oozing out blood. It happened early in the morning too, right whenever I got started at work, so I was pretty much just limping all day delivering all my packages. Well, anyways, I got stuck last night. I got stuck on bleeding the slave cylinder, the clutch fluid, and blah blah blah. And so I just got done doing some research on how to do it. The instructions that came with this required 2 people. But then I found a really short video and the dude had the same exact Harbor Freight tool I had, and all he did was just hook it up to the slave cylinder bleeder valve and he just pumped it and it got all the air out. So I'm about to see if that works, yo. Alright, I finally got it figured out. I realized that I didn't open the bleeder valve all the way, and so none of the brake fluid was moving around. But now I got some out. Look how dirty it is. Sheesh. This brake fluid is like clear, so that's super nasty. Alright, LJ, go and pump it a few times.
Keep going?
Yeah, keep going. Woo. And you get to see the fluid go down. At first I wasn't having any movement, but now it's working. If I try to go into gear, it feels like it's gonna stall. Oh, we stalled. Yo, so guys, for whatever reason, the Civic is not going into gear while it's running. And a lot of people are suggesting that I need to bleed the system. I guess this tool didn't help in this case. I'm gonna have to do this manually. So one of my homies back in Charlotte hit me up. He said they used a bottle of brake fluid and attach it to the bleeder valve. And I'm gonna have to manually pump the clutch pedal and keep opening and closing the bleeder valve so I can get all of the air out of the system. Pretty much with this submerged in brake fluid and this attached to the bleeder valve, the fluid's gonna come in through here and I'm gonna see air bubbles coming through the bleeder valve. The other end is in brake fluid and it's gonna prevent more air going back into the system. Because if there wasn't brake fluid down here, this would just be an open hole for air to come in and out of the valve. So, it's gonna be a long morning. It's about 6 a.m. and we'll see how long this is gonna take. Guys, I hate to tell you, but I took it back out. Because when I was using this vacuum thing, there was just constant air bubbles coming through and the reservoir was barely going down. So I'm pretty sure that there's a little leak somewhere, as in like maybe one of these bolts are loose. So I'm gonna tighten these really well. There was one big reason why I didn't want to pull out the clutch master cylinder, and it's because this K-tuned one, it's a lot wider compared to the OEM. Check this out. Look at that difference, yo. That's a big difference. And so when I put the bolt in here and used the cotter pin, it was so hard. This couldn't even fit. This is actually broken. Like, it's supposed to be a little longer right here. So I'm gonna switch this one out with the OEM one. That way I won't have any issues with the cotter pin. I can't use this one, but I have a bunch of universal cotter pins that I could use. But yep, took it all apart. Well, one benefit to taking everything apart is that I could put the shifter bushings in. I think that it's this one and this one, but I'm gonna try to tighten everything up and try to bleed it. Alright guys, check out the setup. So I made sure all these lines were tightened on both the clutch master cylinder and the slave cylinder. I'm gonna do a bench bleed. To my understanding, you're just bleeding it before you actually install it, but I do have it hooked up to the reservoir right here. Because check this out, this clutch system is one line from the CMC to the slave cylinder, and the second line goes to the reservoir. So this doesn't need to be bolted up in order to bleed it. And hopefully with everything tightened, there shouldn't be any air coming through, you know? I went through 2 bottles of brake cleaner and I was still getting air bubbles. So I was like, man, there's gotta be a leak somewhere. So let's hope this works. Guys, I finally figured it out. I really understand how this works now. I feel enlightened. Check this out. All right, so what I was doing was I had the bleeder valve open and I kept pumping this clutch pedal, right? But I saw this air bubble right here in the line that kept going forward and back, forward and back. And then I realized that when I push this down, it's pushing fluid out, right? And when I let it go, it sucks it back in. And so how you bleed the system is you push this down and hold it. That's gonna let the fluid out. And then you close this valve before you let the clutch back in. And that's when the fluid is gonna come through the reservoir. So first, I'm gonna open this bleeder valve. Bam, open, right? I'll push down the clutch pedal. Bam, I don't know if you saw that, but fluid moved. See, I'm still holding this. Now I close the valve, make sure it's locked, and I can let go of the clutch. And what happens when you let go of the clutch, the fluid in the reservoir goes down. Oh man, yo, this feels a lot better. I was kind of scared that with this being an aftermarket performance part, that the clutch was gonna feel harder. I didn't really want it to be harder or stiffer. I just wanted an improvement over the OEM one that was going bad. So, yo, this feels good. I've already adjusted the pedal. If you're changing the clutch master cylinder, be sure to look into how to adjust the clutch pedal. But right now, this is feeling good. So before we put all this back together, I'm gonna replace this bushing and this bushing. These are the shifting, I guess, bushings or bearings. We got the K-Tune kit, clutch master kit, and the slave cylinder. So we also got the K-Tuned shift bearings. Ooh, and these are spherical. Ooh. All right, yo, it feels like it's been a minute since I drove the Civic. It's probably been down for about 3 days now. Let's hope everything works, yo. Woo. The shift knob feels like how it should feel. Ooh, it sounds kind of rough, don't it? All right, let's hope I could go into gear, because the other day, that's the whole issue why I couldn't even drive the Civic. Let's see. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Oh, I can go into gear. Let's do this thing. It feels like the Civic, okay, kind of scary. The RPM is kind of high. It's like 1500 for some reason. What's going on? So when I come out of gear, it's still kind of revving, even though if I don't have my foot on the gas pedal or nothing. Okay, I'm kind of scared. I feel like I need to go look at the engine and see if I might have missed something. All right, so I adjusted the clutch pedal, and I do have like a little crack on my air intake, so I kind of adjusted it, and hopefully that has to do with the high rev. Ooh, yeah, the clutch feels better. Feels way better after the clutch adjustment. Oh, I scratched the new bumper. Ooh, yeah. adjusting the clutch really helped a lot. Cause now I feel like the clutch engages at a higher spot. It does still seem like when I let go of gears, it still kind of keeps revving and then goes down. I'm not sure what that's about. The clutch feels a little funny. It feels a little springy. Like as I'm pushing it down, it feels like I'm pushing on a line that has air. You know, like when you push on a line and fluid has bubbles in it, it feels kind of springy and bubbly. Each gear does feel more solid. Like going in and out of gear, it feels nice. Alright guys, me and LG just got back from rock climbing, and the Civic actually drove pretty nicely. Before I installed the clutch master cylinder and slave cylinder, the issues I was having was when I was shifting the gears, a lot of times they would grind. And now it shifts pretty smoothly. And after putting in those shifter bearings, I don't have a lot of play in the shift knob. And now the only issue I have is that third gear pop. Sometimes I'll go into third gear and it'll just shoot right back out. But that's probably something that has to do with the transmission. I'm just glad that shifting feels a lot better and it makes the Civic feel more enjoyable to drive. But shoot, I'm real glad that the Civic drives much better. It feels better. A lot of people were saying that K-tuned is trash. But I mean, I don't really have anything else to compare it to besides what I had in it before, which was OEM. And that definitely feels way worse than what's in there now. Oh, and that bubbly feeling I was talking about, like when I would step on the clutch. Have you ever drove around with low power steering fluid? You know that feeling like when you turn the steering wheel and it kind of like, it has like a humming noise. It's like, you know, because it's low on power steering fluid, right? That's kind of the feeling I get when I step on the clutch pedal. It's not that noticeable, but I could kind of feel it. You know, maybe it'll go away later, who knows. But alright, we're done with the Civic for today. I just got a couple of screws for the lube. These are valve cover screws, so I can bolt down the valve cover. We'll get them installed and test drive the lube and see if the check engine light comes on. If it doesn't, then yo, that means we fixed 2 cars in one day. 2 cars in one video. Yeah. Alright, let's do this real quick. Right guys, I didn't get to finish up on the lube because I'm missing like 1 bolt and a few other bolts feel like they're getting stripped on the valve cover. So I'm thinking about ordering some OEM bolts for the valve cover. Who knows? But other than that, today was definitely a successful day. I'm pretty satisfied with today's project. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned something from this video too, because I was like, wow, this is exactly how the clutch system works. And it's pretty cool to see how everything works. Even though it was extra effort to pull everything back out, I'm glad that we got the system bled properly. Oh, I don't know if I clarified with you guys, but the issue with my clutch system was that I didn't tighten down the lines. I just assumed they were tightened enough from the package, so I didn't check that. So if you guys get a clutch kit, make sure you tighten everything before you install it. Because when I was trying to bleed it, air kept getting in, and that's why I couldn't bleed it correctly. But yep, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate that. Thanks for the support and always checking in and tuning in on me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and dang, I can't say keep moving forward. That's what TJ Hunt says. Peace out, and I'll see you on the next one. Yeah.